Right, hello everybody, welcome back to Great Touch for a Big Lad. It's a different kind of boy band this week. Last week we had four of us and we had the other ugly ones in. This time we've got the clean sweep of the best looking people in football media.
Yeah.
Correct? I don't know. Let us know in the comments below. Lots to talk about, lots of your comments that we're going to be talking about as well. Of course, Jack Reeve from Talk Norwich City, back in the big time.
Yeah, mate, it's good to be here.
The
back in the big time as in on this podcast.
yeah, for the first time.
Yeah.
Back in the big time in the Premier League. Yeah. QPR and Brentford fans can only dream of such a thing.
What's the championship again?
The cup team.
Yeah. Has that happened already?
Oh, 100%. I forgot about the people behind us after, the day we got promoted.
Really? We don't have VAR, linesmen?
Yeah.
Probably a good thing, to be fair.
Yeah.
Probably a good thing.
We're living in a simpler time in the Championship, which I'm fine about. But it is so true. Even if, like, from League One to the Championship, whatever league you move up into, you don't look back, do you?
No.
Just look forward and look at that division that you're in. That's all that matters.
I think, to be fair, after 40 minutes on that Friday night when we went up to Liverpool, I was starting to think, I wish we were back in the Championship, mainly because we were conceding a goal every 10 minutes.
That happened in the Championship, didn't it?
Well,
not Dick, but I mean, you're an attacking team, weren't you?
Yeah, I guess. But, things have turned. And we're in the top 10.
Top 10 club in the Premier League.
Yeah, exactly.
So we will talk about Norwich City. Can talk a bit about last year, and we've got some questions from you guys that come from Twitter as well. But first of all, opening question: painful penalties. I don't know if you guys saw the game last night. Man United 1-1 against Wolves.
Really good game. Watched it. Very good game.
Did you think it was that good?
I thought it was a cracking game.
I thought it was good. That what I really love. And I'll say the quote already from EG saying, "Who's got the best squad between West Ham, Leicester, Wolves and Everton, and therefore most likely to crack the top 6? The reason I popped that in there, one is because he wrote it, but the main reason was because I watched that game. What I love is the fact that Wolves and Leicester and Everton and West Ham and other clubs as well, like Norwich as well.
We'll get that far.
But my point is that people come in having a go.
Yeah.
Like Wolves' first half, they were very, very hesitant, I guess. They were kind of playing within themselves. They had like a really sort of, not a low block, but they just like, you have the ball in your own half and that's fine. But they had the quality to switch it up in the second half when they needed to. And I think that's going to happen again and again. Leicester City, Chelsea as well. There was a response. There's a response from these clubs. I think that's really good. Going back to this opening question before all of that stuff. Is painful penalties. Pogba. First of all, thoughts on there's been like this massive thing, and it feels like to me that people are just clinging onto a storyline because it's the third week of the season with the Pogba penalty thing with Rashford. Pogba took the penalty. Rashford took one last week
and scored.
Thoughts on that whole debacle?
I mean, I think it's slightly overdone.
Yeah.
I think one of those penalties was too hot to handle and it deflected into the path of Pogba when he scored. So I don't think all of them were actually like penalty misses purely.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess like maybe there should be a tier system, like Pogba takes the penalties, then Rashford takes them if he's not on the pitch.
Yeah.
Maybe that's more of an issue. You should have a priority list. But if he scores it, no one will be talking, would they?
Yeah, and part of me is like, I think it's understandable that like Rashford should take the penalty because the penalties he's taken are brilliant.
Yeah.
The way he strikes the ball, so good, and pressure penalties as well, which is what that was. I understand that, but there's blame on Rashford as well because he could have made a bigger deal out of it. But then I think if Rashford goes, no, I'm taking it, when they've basically been set in this situation where Ethan can take it, and then he misses it, then you go, Pogba's supposed to be a leader. He's supposed to be the captain of his club. Why is he shirking responsibility and letting Rashford take it? So like, I think you're a bit lost at where, whatever side of the fence you sit on.
It's just that miscommunication, I think.
Yeah, I think if I'm a striker though, and I've just scored a penalty the previous week, and then a penalty comes up and that opportunity to score another goal is taken off my hands, I'm going to be pretty annoyed. So I get why this has been made into a story. And I saw Gary Lineker tweet the exact same thing earlier on, him saying if this was him in the situation of Marcus Rashford, he'd be fuming. Strikers want to be scoring goals. This is a good opportunity for Marcus. And and he delivered on a big stage before. So I get why people are annoyed about it.
Yeah. Opening question then. Sorry, we do this every single week where we start drifting off into the topics. Painful penalties. What is the most painful penalty of all time? Okay, so let us know. This could be about your team, or the one that I'll go first. I'm going with Asamoah Gyan in the 2010 World Cup quarterfinal. Yeah, against Uruguay. Yes, against Uruguay, and it might have been at the end of extra time. I'm getting a bit confused with it, but I just remember Suarez's handball.
Yeah.
Ghana played brilliantly, and a bit like last night. You're thinking, let the striker have it. The guy who's got the confidence. He had the confidence, and you thought, wow, an African country, a whole continent was probably rooting. Well, the whole world was kind of rooting for them, but especially obviously that you wouldn't have that in Europe. You wouldn't go, oh, come on, the European country. In Africa, in a World Cup in Africa. And he missed it.
And it just felt so hard. Ghana must have felt so hard done by the fact that they had literally just so close to scoring a goal and had been denied by Luis Suarez.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Like there's almost another narrative within the penalty miss, which makes it even more painful.
Yeah,
I like that pick from you though.
Thanks, mate. Yeah. Because you have your own ones. You go England. You go like those routes. I was trying to find something a little bit different.
That's good. Yeah,
what have you got, Dom? I think I know what this might be as a Brentford fan.
I couldn't believe it when I saw it. Painful penalties. I was like, oh, Jesus. Well, I mean,
we've got a lot of new people watching and listening now, so they won't know this story.
Yeah, it's probably one of the most traumatic periods of my footballing life, to be honest. But it was the last game of the season. I can't remember what year it was now. I think maybe 2014.
Possibly. Yeah.
We were playing Doncaster Rovers.
Big game.
It was a big game.
Huge.
It was in League One. We were third and Doncaster were second. Mm-hmm. By a twist of fate, we played each other in the final game of the season
at Griffin Park.
With the winner basically taking it all. 0-0, atrocious game. The ball went into the area. Now I think there's an alleged handball. I don't even know how we got the penalty. To be honest, I'm not sure it was one, but we got given a penalty in the 94th minute. And our club captain, we talked about this argument between Pogba and Rashford. Our club captain, Kevin O'Connor, was our penalty taker and was supposed to take the penalty, but a 19-year-old on loan from Fulham, Marcelo Trotter, took it off his hands, put the ball in the spot. There was a huge argument about who's going to take the penalty. In the end, Kevin O'Connor went, right, let's just leave it and you take the penalty.
And obviously probably people can guess what it was about to come up, but actually you won't. But the context of it was that, so if the goal was scored, what did that mean?
So if the goal was scored, we would have gone up to Championship.
Automatically.
Yeah.
Okay.
And basically the guy who was supposed to take the penalty, Kevin O'Connor, has played over 500 games for the club. It was his last season, and he was he had somehow broken into centre back, having played striker or right back or centre mid his whole career because of an injury crisis. It was literally completely written for him to put the ball in the spot and bang it in. So anyway, the crowd drew its breath, and the Marcelo Trotter came up to strike the ball, took the penalty. It rattled the crossbar, came down. There's a massive furore in the
people
area.
diving to try and head it in.
Unbelievable, and the whole crowd just held its breath. The whole Brentford team just dropped to the floor, other than Kevin O'Connor, the man who was supposed to take the penalty, who ran back trying to chase the counter, and it was 3-on-1. They scored, and Kevin O'Connor was the only sight I remember was just Kevin O'Connor running and just trying to get the ball, and then everyone else was just lying on the floor and was completely broken.
So the goal meant that first of all Brentford went into the playoffs, didn't get promoted after waiting God knows how long to get into the Championship. But it meant Doncaster won the league, didn't it?
They then won the league with that kick of the game, because AFC Bournemouth were playing elsewhere. But they not only got promoted, Bournemouth, but they won the league. They went absolutely crazy. Flares off in the away.
What would a draw have meant?
Doncaster would have done it, but not won the league.
Yeah.
So I guess it was like a double celebration for them.
And probably the greatest moment probably in their if you're a fan,
huge.
Incredible.
in that element of history. Like, that's crazy.
What's happened to Marcelo Trotta nowadays?
I think he was playing for Sassuolo in Italy, like, in the Serie A. So I think he's done alright. But I just remember like the 1,000-yard stares, like, of our fans. Like, it was eerie silence, other than a couple of really angry screams.
Yeah.
Like, but it was just so. It was like zombies in the ground.
I saw Dom that night. I've never seen that angry. Like, constantly angry. You know, you go like, you get pissed off at something and you go...
Were you angry at him? Like,
he's fuming. I was fuming. But we actually went for an Italian, just like put a bit of an ironic twist on it. But it was one of those moments that you just like, oh, this is just absolutely horrible. But the same season, something happened with I don't know if with another game, and people will always remember that one.
Watford Leicester one.
Yeah.
So the same season, was it?
Same season, and people always remember that one. I don't think Watford went up that year, but they won the semi-final because of a similar situation.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible how that replicated itself a few weeks later. The same referee.
Jack, what you got?
I'm going quite niche. I don't think I'm going to beat this, but for me,
that's why I went first.
the penalty miss wasn't maybe that painful, but the storyline for me was painful. So take your minds back to 2015. Norwich go up, stay up for the first season under Paul Lambert. Chris Hughton comes in, makes a host of big money signings: Leroy Fair, Ricky Van Wolfswinkel, other players. We're all dreaming, we're thinking top half finish, top 6. Is the Europa League on the horizon?
Remember that.
There's loads of coverage about Ricky Van Wolfswinkel. Feed the wolf and he will score. Be afraid of the big bad wolf. Ricky Van Wolfswinkel scores a stunning goal on his debut. Nice header. We're thinking, right, we're in the money here. £8.5 million, well spent. This is one of Europe's finest strikers, and he's at Carrow Road. The away game doesn't score. Comes back to Carrow Road. We've got a game against, I think it was Aston Villa. Get a penalty late on. Ricky Van Wolfswinkel, our number 9, should be the penalty taker.
Of course.
Would have been the penalty taker if it wasn't for Robert Snodgrass stepping up and saying, "This is mine."
Right.
Snodgrass takes the penalty, misses the penalty. We go on to lose the game. Ricky Van Wolfswinkel scored 1 goal in the next 2 seasons. So for me, in my mind, if Ricky would have scored in 2 consecutive games at Carrow Road, if he would have taken that penalty and of course would have scored, we could have been in the Europa League that season.
We could have changed his career.
Could have changed
you
his.
Never know.
And Norwich could be
that is
a
incredible.
massive
Things like that. Those moments have
such a turning point.
Such a turning point, and especially for like newly promoted teams, it's a big thing. So yeah, let us know yours. Obviously, do us a favour, go subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. Just search Great Touch for a Big Lad. And if you're new to the channel, or if you're listening to this on iTunes, head over to James Lawrence Allcott and subscribe to the channel, and you can watch us every single week. And let us know your painful penalties in the comments below. Right, weekend roundup. So yeah, Manchester United. Kind of getting back to that for a second. This is the most exciting thing for me about this season. Well, 2 things. I really love that teams are having a go. I feel like we'll always talk about this top 6 for another couple of seasons, but it could turn into...
Don't think it exists.
Yeah, I'm not sure it does.
I kind of agree with that.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Like when I look at Man United and I look at Chelsea, and I know I'm probably pushing this. I've been pushing this for like weeks, but I really think this season could be a massive eye opener for a lot of clubs, and I think it's a great moment for the Premier League. I think there's been that period where like some teams have more money than others, but now everyone's got so much money and people are recruiting in the right way.
That's the big thing.
That is the big thing. Yeah, I guess. Well, the counterpoint to that is Norwich City. But with those teams, where do you think Man United and Chelsea are? Where do you see them as any better than those other guys?
I do see them as better. I see Manchester United. I looked at the first 11 last night and I watched the game. I thought they were really good first half.
Yeah.
I thought they controlled the game for the majority against Wolves away, which is a very difficult fixture. As a side point, I think Pogba in the last couple of games has been very, very good. I think he's had a hard rap. He's on the back page of the papers this morning, holding his head for missing a penalty and getting all these headlines. But he drove that midfield yesterday. He was strong. He was progressive. He looked to switch the ball. If it wasn't for him in the centre of that United midfield, they would be in real trouble.
Yeah, that's the thing for me. The point the thing that they could struggle with, and I think we said this in like May. I was like, they need to start well. They really need to start well, because McTominay, at the start of that game, people going, McTominay, Martial can do it. Martial and Rashford, look at that. Daniel James, I'm excited to see him play. Wan-Bissaka, like, what a great sign. Maguire, he's unbelievable. Like, there's all that feeling and excitement and youth in that team. But if they go a few games without winning, McTominay's rubbish.
Yeah.
Lingard, why is he still in the team? Like, all those things are going to kind of turn around, and people will turn on Pogba as well. So I think there is the first 10 games of the season are going to be so crucial for both Man United and Chelsea.
And there's a lot of moving elements. I mean, you mentioned there Daniel James, one very good season in the Championship, but that's what his price tag was based off. Yeah. Harry Maguire, yes, granted a fantastic footballer, but with that price tag brings pressure, and it's also gelling all of them players into a team. And like you say, if it doesn't happen within 10 games, which at the moment it looks like it's going quite well for them, there is going to be pressure on them, and especially when you've got that chasing pack of Leicester, Wolves, Everton,
yeah.
It makes it really difficult, and it makes it more difficult for them top 6 teams.
You have those players have to bed in. There's also uncertainty about whether they'll be good enough for Manchester United.
Yeah.
And then I guess the third point for me would be on squad depth for United, because if these guys aren't quite what they're supposed to be, I think they will be. Personally, I think Wan-Bissaka, Harry Maguire, and Daniel James have all been good in the first couple of games. I think that if you looked at that bench from last night, there really wasn't much to offer. The substitution, I think, came on 80 minutes. The first substitution. Right. I don't know.
And Sanchez out the door.
Sanchez out the door. If one of those, if Rashford and Martial gets injured, I don't know. I think that's when you got to ask that question of are they better than Leicester? If they lose one of Pogba, Rashford and Martial, I think that's when you've got to start asking questions of if one of these teams can catch them.
The other guy, watching that game, I've had different periods of like, I get it now, and then there'll be games where I'll go, I'm not sure he's good enough.
Who?
Lingard.
I agree.
Because
last night he wasn't that great.
I don't think they can break down teams a lot of the time. I think that's a problem. On the counter-attack, they'll look good. Like Martial, the goal was fantastic. He really excites me as a centre forward as well. But there were times where you've got McTominay's just going to get it and play it simple. Pogba will play the pass before the pass probably, or he might get some of those through balls in. But if he's playing the pass before the pass, he's either often it's going to go to Lingard, and I'm not sure.
I really like Lingard. I think the thing for me is what is he? Like, I don't think he's a winger.
No.
I don't think he's a striker.
I agree.
I don't think he's a 10.
Yeah.
He's definitely not a 10. He's definitely not a 10.
So
he
in that
so
sense,
much.
what is he?
I think you'd actually have him. I think you're getting more out of Pogba at the moment in the position where he is, where you've got McTominay doing the horrible work, and he gets it and gives it to him, but he can also do that beautiful trot of his where he goes and goes, right, give me the ball here.
Trot, I like that.
Yeah.
But actually, probably in an England team, you'd want Lingard in that Pogba position. So he's not the deepest one, but he's not the Dele Alli. He's that guy in between who can show energy, which I know Pogba doesn't always show that, but he's still got that athleticism, so it's fine. So I agree. I think they've got a problem there because I don't know who that guy is.
Yeah, I think yesterday he sort of dropped deeper a lot, and went wide. I'd be interested to see his stats. I haven't actually looked at them, but I can't really remember him creating that many chances for people either. And if you're playing in at number 10, then...
There was some stuff on Twitter about how the lack of assists, there's not been many assists at all over the last sort of 9 months or so. But that's it. Then there's games where he pops up with a great goal, or like he does have those good games. So I just he's good, but is he good?
Yeah.
It's none of those ones.
I think going back to that point really quickly though, I think Manchester United out of that pack are certainly the best. I think Chelsea are very amongst in and amongst that. I look at them. I think looking at that pack of teams, I think Manchester United are certainly at the top of them, and then Chelsea are definitely in and amongst the likes of Leicester and Wolves. I look at that Chelsea side. Yes, granted that they've got the transfer ban, which doesn't help them, but they've lost their best player in Eden Hazard. They've got a manager in Frank Lampard who took a Derby side from 6th to 6th with I would say one of the top 2 sides in the Championship last season on paper. So, and I think the thing for me with
least,
I think the thing for me with Lampard was you would expect him to go there and implement a style really quickly. I didn't see a style. It changed week in, week out. And yes, you could say that's adapting, but the results didn't prove it. And at the end of the day, they didn't go up. So that's a massive job for Frank Lampard. I watched them against Leicester. I wasn't overly impressed. And they're coming down to Carrow Road this weekend.
Yeah.
I'm not scared.
Yeah, that's mad.
That is an interesting point. I watched 3 games of Chelsea this season. I thought they were brilliant against Liverpool.
Yeah.
I thought they were fantastic against Liverpool. At United for the first half, I thought they was it her first half or second? I can't remember. First half they did well. And then they started like a house on fire against Leicester.
But they're not winning games.
They're not winning games. So I think that the problem really, it does lie in the clinical edge, and that's with the striker. And they obviously need a striker.
You've lost goals. Yeah. You've lost goals there, and that's huge pressure. Like it's weird to bring it to QPR, but whilst we're talking there, it came back to it. The season went down years ago. We sold Les Ferdinand to Newcastle, right? I know this is a long time.
Haven't got over it, have you?
No, and I haven't. And I thought we were going to get Roberto Baggio. Anyway, but you lost 16 goals, and even if we've got. We've got Kevin Gallen coming in and Danny Dichio, and they're like really good youth team players, and we're really excited about them. They're not people who are certain that they can score goals at that level, and you have lost 16 goals. Like you look at Arsenal, you go, Aubameyang and Lacazette are going to get you goals. Chelsea, that's the problem, and the pressure will mount and mount and mount. No pun intended. And so I think, and the other thing, they're unfortunate in the sense that could have gone differently against Man United. Definitely, I thought that whole game was chaos. I thought that I don't actually think anyone looked that great. There was a lot of just like misplaced passes and lack of chemistry.
That's true, yeah.
The Liverpool game, they were great, but I remember watching it and thinking they're going to lose this.
We're talking about the Super Cup here.
Yeah, they're going to lose this, and then they're going to play Leicester, and then they're going to be a little bit tired, and then they're not going to win. They're not going to win that game. And then there's just this.
Do you really think
they haven't
Chelsea
won a game yet? I thought they were for large parts of it.
I thought that they
created
a lot of chances which not many people do against that Liverpool team.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe don't to be fair.
Appreciate the scene.
But the point is
true though.
Yeah. But the point is, if you get say even if they get a win against Norwich or not, but say they don't win the next 3, they will have had a very they're in the bottom 2 at the moment, and that's 2 games. Then the Champions League comes, and that's the problem. That's the problem that those big sides have, is that they got to deal with those games as well, and that's why I think it's just prime for a Leicester or Everton or West Ham.
I read a really interesting article today about Leicester, and basically the moral of that story was Leicester need to realise quickly how good they are, because they've got a lot of good young players in there, James Maddison, Harvey Barnes and Diddy, and if they don't quite embrace how good they are and finish in the top 6, their players will leave, and then they're back to square one, and then you're on that constant churn of trying to find the next good youngster. So they really need to knuckle down this season and perform to the lengths I think they're able to perform at.
I get that feeling though, that it seems like Brendan Rodgers has made that clear to the players, like you need to really realise how decent you are and make an impact this year, because you probably won't get another chance.
I think they've gone under the radar, Leicester, as well. I think they're set for a really good season.
Yeah. I've got here all things Norwich. Okay.
Nice.
So there's a question from Stan, A Blue Horizon. If I wasn't a fan of Norwich, I'd want to ask Jack, what could a team with a smaller budget from the Championship or League One do to emulate the success that has been displayed by the Canaries, especially in leagues dictated by money? And I think it's a good question, because having a Brentford fan here as well, and I can kind of see QPR starting to move to that way of thinking in terms of trying to be really clever to get yourselves through the leagues. What are the key elements in getting yourselves through the leagues when you haven't got the money?
For me, and I think you'll certainly know more about your kind of transition of the whole Moneyball recruitment thing that you went through a couple of years ago, when it really kind of came to the limelight for me. But it's finding them players that are out there and really investing in recruitment and finding the best staff out there and piling money into that, and then you've got to be patient with it. So Stuart Webber came in, and the first season with him and Daniel Farke, we finished 14th. The style of football wasn't great, But I think they always knew in the back of their mind that they had spotted an Emi Buendia who'll fit in. They've spotted a Timu Pukki who'll come in and score the goals. And it was just patience. It was cultivating a culture that allowed fans to get on board with that and to be open and to be honest and to say to the fans, look, this is our situation. It's not going to work instantly, but you have to trust us because one, we don't have the money to go down another route, so this is do or die. And two, if it does work, it's going to work really well because all the other clubs are still stuck in their ways. So I think it's that honesty from a very high level, and it's also investing and investing in that recruitment, and also giving the youth a clear journey from academy to youth team. I think when you're a 16, 17-year-old at the top of your age group, there's still a massive gap into that first team. And we've seen with Max Aarons, Jamal Lewis, Todd Cantwell, who are all now regular Premier League starters. These hadn't played. These hadn't played a few seasons ago for Norwich. They had a vision that they knew if they performed in the under-23 squad, they will be given a chance in the first team, and they will be given 10 games to perform. And if they don't cut it after that, that's game over. But they've got a chance within that. And I think that just creates a really nice unity amongst the squad. And you can do it on a very limited budget.
Yeah. What do you think it is with Brentford? Obviously, you haven't made that final league.
No, we haven't made that
very
last
close
jump.
though.
Also moving from League One to the Championship and being where you are in the Championship, the squad that you've got.
Yeah, and the term that's often used is by Rasmus Ankerson at Brentford is if you can't outspend your rivals, you need to outthink them.
Yeah.
And we canned our academy. There's a few people who objected to it, but we look to bring in young players who have been rejected by other big clubs, other big clubs, big clubs, and then we've looked at development potential in those players and make sure that there is like you were saying previously, like a pathway from the B team. Chris Mepham for us, he came in because of an injury, but there is that pathway that B team players get at Brentford, and then they get sold on, or they'll be a fixture within the first team. The other side of it is being smart with analytics and working out other little shortcuts as well, like personality and what builds a team. And then I think there's then another step that you need to take. And I think with us, it's starting to happen now. Hopefully, I don't know, like touch wood, but like Janssen. Getting that
big sign,
making the big moves,
getting that experience as well as the youth, that balance between the two, and I'm hoping that's our Harry Maguire or Van Dijk signing that can help us a little bit on the road. Plus, you need a lot of luck, I think. Yeah, and that's always the case of any team getting promoted. I think you need a bit of luck.
I think if you haven't got any money, I know Brentford's a little bit different, but I think you've done it a lot better than we have over a longer period of time, but. For me, I understand why we're bringing a few players on loan, because that's the other way of getting a Janssen. That's the other way of getting a player who's too good for you, really. And so QPR again are doing that, which I kind of understand. And then the third thing we seem to be doing is we're finding those guys from those big clubs who've got something to prove. Like it's dangerous, but they've got injured, or Spurs haven't wanted them. But if Spurs don't want you, that doesn't mean that you're not good enough. Final thing I think is good with QPR at the moment is there's like this transparency with these younger players that come in the squad, and they go, you're going on loan. And then they come back and go, here's a 3-year contract because we think you could do something. But you're going out on loan again, even if you think, oh, I'm ready right now. And they know that when they go on loan, it's not just pissing about. You need to impress there, because if you do impress there, like Abir Eze, you're going to come in and then you are going to play. Yeah. And that, again, creates a good culture. I think that's.
I'm really glad you mentioned personality, because I think that's something that Stuart Webber at Norwich has really kind of honed into, and as well as the analytics that I think we've nailed, they will also go out and meet the player and sit down and then go back to Daniel and go, look, is this right? And you mentioned there about some, getting players who want it basically. Yeah. And we've done that really well in a sense with Maurice Leitner, Tom Tribal, and it's a really basic human element, but just empathy. Like, these guys were playing Champions League football, have fallen off the train for whatever reason, and have fallen out of love with football. So it's now, we know that there's a good player in there somewhere, and how do we get that back out? And I think it's just giving them the love and the empathy and going, look, we know you're good, we're willing to give you a chance. and we think we can repay you.
Mm.
And I think that's often overlooked in football. We
Yeah,
often
definitely.
get caught up in the stats and the analytics. Sometimes it's just being nice to people.
Yeah, and also taking away the fear. That's the
Yeah.
thing I said on the podcast this week. Last week, sorry.
Naivety can help that with young players.
Yeah, that's true. I said on the podcast last week. I kind of saw the whole Rory thing with you and him calling you guys more. Have you spoken to him since?
Yeah,
Have you got him this week?
He rejected a coffee actually. I asked him if he wanted to go for coffee for lunch, and he said no, I can't. So I think he's scared of me. So Rory, I'll look you down the lens, mate. If you're scared, look, Carrow Road on Saturday. I'm willing to meet you at.
That makes that so much more spicy, doesn't it? Because imagine if.
I think he's scared.
But I agreed. I agreed with what you're saying, and I think when you don't support a Chelsea, I can understand Rory's point of view, but
I can't.
But I really like.
I don't know.
So, well, yeah, Rory's just said that. Rory said that if you go to Liverpool and play like that, you're morons. Basically.
Basically, it's
Oh, we
ignorance.
talked about this, didn't we?
It's ignorance, right?
Because the point I made last week, I don't know if you agree with this, was that the reason you go and have a go at them is for exactly what happened on Saturday.
100%.
They were ready to have a go against Newcastle, and they tried all this stuff, and then you play against a team that's nowhere near as good as that other team, and it works. And if you defend for your lives against those other teams, which you're probably going to lose those games anyway.
Exactly.
You aren't kind of in the flow
Yeah.
for those games which you can go and win, and that's why I think people will really. Norwich could have a really nice, lovely mid-table season
Love it.
because of that, and have some like really nice home wins. Like it's easy to get carried away because I think Newcastle are terrible. I think they're going to be terrible all season. I think they'll be this year's Fulham, and I think they'll go down.
Jolinton's the worst signing of the summer, by the way.
Really?
Calling that early doors.
Interesting.
Yeah. Awful.
Well, just a quick plug then. We're going to do a tier list on strikers for the Premier League. Joe Linton is in there, so we can touch
Joe
on that.
Linton, yeah. Well, the Linton family must be proud of him.
Linton clan are delighted with that. But have you been able to kind of calm yourself down a bit?
No.
And why? And you don't want to.
No, 100%. Like these wins don't come around very often, and there's definitely going to be a stage within probably the next 3 seasons where either Farker leaves, Pukki leaves, Stuart Webber leaves, and then suddenly we're back to being a team. Well, we're still fighting relegation. That's definitely the aim, but I think we're slightly above that at the moment.
Something feels a little bit different.
It does, and I'm incredibly surprised at the amount of praise that Aston Villa have had, because out of the 3 teams to come up, they were by far the worst out of them teams
last season.
And I don't think they strengthened particularly well. Yet pundits are saying, they're going to absolutely.
I think I said something similar on the previous podcast. Is that I'm not sure if they did enough up front, and I'm not sure if the average of the players that they brought in is actually that incredible.
No.
Let's see.
Yeah. The Potter Nation. Craig Beresford on the podcast the last couple of weeks. He's got a problem with Potter at Brighton. He doesn't understand why people like him. What's his name? Coxie16 said, just a few quick points on Graham Potter from a Swansea fan's perspective. I totally get why it seems like a big fuss over nothing as we finished 10th, but after we got relegated there was a genuine fear with supporters that we could do a Sunderland and go down again because of money issues and bad ownership. We let 16 players leave and only brought in 4. We had 1 striker, McBurney, and only 3 centre-backs, 2 of whom were under 21. At least half of our squad were academy products who had a handful of first-team games under their belt. He also brought back the style of play that we lost in the last few years. Blah, blah, basically he's decent.
Did a great job there.
Great.
But the Potter Nation, it carries on. If you're a lover of the Potter Nation, let us know in the comments below as we get behind Brighton, my team for the Premier League this season.
By the way, Stoke, awful.
So bad, aren't they?
So bad. And I'm really surprised because Nathan
Jones
Jones is a really good manager.
Yeah.
He made
that
wonders
shows.
at Luton.
That shows about how the players and the personalities make a
Yeah.
big problem, and there comes a point where, however big a name players are, and how much maybe the opposition are like up for it, it is on you.
Yeah.
It's on those players. That squad's way too good to not be winning games of football.
They're dross.
I just defend them a little bit. I think that their expected goals, if you like that sort of thing,
it's decent.
Is actually quite good this year.
Okay.
And I think they've missed some absolute howlers. But with Joe Allen, I think, against Derby on the weekend, like hit the post from about a yard out.
Good.
Never rains.
But yeah, it never rains indeed.
But yeah, Brighton's still doing well, doing bits as well. I'm kind of looking to them quite a lot because with this new Premier League thing, like I'm looking at the differentials, which is the players that are maybe a bit cheap, and Trossard apparently is the one.
You're coming out with some really clever stuff tonight.
Yeah.
Really clever stuff.
Right. Any more for any more on the weekend roundup?
Quickly on Brighton, such a good decision to sack Chris Hughton.
Well, that was what I was going to ask.
I'm not sure if you've touched on that before, but such a good decision to sack Chris Hughton.
What, do you generally just don't rate him?
Well, Potter's better,
yeah,
and they certainly were not going to progress under Hughton.
Because I guess for you, there's an understanding of like old guard, new guard.
Yeah,
and
I can remember watching Hughton football week in, week out, and it's horrible.
Right, of course, yeah.
And I think it's very easy for a neutral to go and say, he's a nice bloke, he's kept you up, what do you expect as a Brighton fan? Well, if I'm a Brighton fan, I expect quite a lot actually. I expect to be entertained when I go to the football, and I expect to be doing more than just surviving.
Yeah.
And I think it's really easy for a neutral to just say he's a nice bloke, he kept you up. I think that's really disrespectful.
You're probably right in a nice bloke sort of stakes, but Tony Bloom, I think he's obviously the same mould as Matthew Benham at Brentford and the gambling mould, but with that obviously knows his stats, and he's probably a bit disappointed with where Brighton finished last season.
Yeah, especially with the players that they brought in.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're seeing apparently if you've got a bit of money for a fantasy Premier League team and you want to use it wisely, this Trossard guy apparently is going to do bits. Right. Inside knowledge. Pet hate time. Dom and Jack both have pet hates. As a debutant, always have to do a pet hate. So you can go first, mate. What's your pet hate?
So you messaged me this last night, and I was thinking, I don't think I have a pet hate, and then it came into my mind, and I was genuinely really angry.
And then it annoys you for the rest of the day.
Yeah. So my pet hate, and I'm going to sound like a proper kind of old bloke here, short socks.
Oh mate, we've had it before. Yeah, it's good. I totally agree.
God, like
Lingard's on that at the moment.
Jansen at Brentford.
Yeah. I really like Jack Grealish as a player, but when he came to Carrow Road last season, I saw them socks. I was fuming.
Is it short socks or is it rolled down socks or is it both?
No, I think whatever it is, it's disgusting.
It is minging, isn't it?
And I've seen some of their shin pads. How is this not law to make the shin pads bigger? What is going on?
They always fall out as well, don't they?
I mean,
those old Sondico ankle. Dom was a winger, so you liked an ankle guard, didn't you? Because you
not always the ankle guard. Yeah, like they're quite cumbersome, but
did the job.
Yeah, but it's the shin pad and short sock combo. I think it's a disgrace.
I do struggle with it. Like it does need there's this big gap here of flesh that just needs to be serviced.
I feel like if you go to work, it's like going to like an office job and like rolling your trousers up or something, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's
wrong.
Somewhere it just doesn't look quite right.
That's good.
Another one in the same vein is goalkeepers who don't wear sleeves.
Oh,
it's like
Buffon always done that, isn't it? Do you know what's worse? So a sleeve, fine. But you know when they've it's like a weird like diagonal sleeve, like they've whipped it off with some scissors.
Yeah,
not good enough.
No, it's not good enough at all.
A pet hate from the comments. If you have a pet hate, let us know. We will read one out each week. Ronnie Forbes. Oh, he basically said, please tell Craig to say Premier League, not Premiership.
Do you know what? Loads of people hate that. I often say Premiership, and I get slaughtered for it.
Is that a problem?
It's in the same. It's not as bad a problem as calling the Championship Champions League, but it is a. I guess it's an old thing. People get annoyed by it the same way as Notts County fans, Notts Forest fans. Nottingham Forest fans don't like Notts County
the other week. So what's wrong with that? I just say Nottingham.
It should be Nottingham Forest, Notts County.
Okay, fine. I understand. As someone who struggles with his surname, that's fine. So we're trying to say Premiership anymore, or we'll tell Craig not to. But he really his football mind is from 1995. To be fair to him,
we'll allow it.
Football turn-ons again. Get your football turn-ons in. We'll read out some. I haven't got any from you guys, obviously, because I haven't really set it up. But I've got one, and Jack has got one. I'll go first. Is that right?
Yeah, I've got a pet hate still.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, do you pet hate?
No, it's fine.
Because you seemed angry with this.
It irked me.
They're the worst ones.
Yeah. I know Erwin, who's usually on the podcast, was absolutely fuming. To be honest, he couldn't speak for a few seconds. Actually, it was after last night with the VAR. and I hate bringing up VAR again because we're bored of it, aren't we?
It is shit though.
It was when they started doing, I don't know how many people saw the game, but they started doing like a maths exam. Like on the VAR.
Let Messi, didn't they?
They started like trying to draw lines, like where, and then drawing up to see where the hand was.
Yeah.
And obviously, like the angle wasn't straight. So how are you going to know whether or not that? And then in the end, it just looked like he gave up, and then he got a goal.
So what I loved as well, when the commentators when they went to that and they were drawing it out. The ball's where with the player touching it, and the commentator was getting so confused that he was like, "Is that the player receiving the ball or the player passing the ball?"
Yeah.
So yeah, they were a bit messy. I just remembered I had a pet hate as well because I heard it on ESPN, an ESPN video. Commentators using the word aplomb. It's done now. Like it was used 20 years ago. There's no way Craig Burley is saying aplomb in any other sentence apart from the fact that he's got no other words to say. He finished it well.
Yeah,
so I'm sick of the word aplomb.
There's so many of those little ones that are only used in football.
Yeah,
aplomb's definitely one. Yeah.
Aplomb I've never heard elsewhere.
Yeah, I've never heard it
ever.
Football turn-ons. So yeah, I'll go first then. This isn't a good thing, and it might even be a pet hate for other people. But for me, I just love it. It just makes me giggle. It's amazing.
You are quite a giggler anyway, though.
Yes, true. Well, yeah,
but a big giggle.
Yeah, and I would cry as well. So Solskjaer in his post-match interview, he got, and me and Don both love this, he got a phrase wrong. When you get two, so Sam Peoples does this. It's called a Samism. When you get two, phrases and you kind of bash them together and you create this new phrase that doesn't fit. So like we stayed at someone's house once for a house party, and then this girl had an exam, and she was like, she'd said the night before, like, just can you try and keep it down? And we were like, oh yeah, okay. She was because I've got an exam. Next morning she sort of came back at like 12, and we were all like just waking up, and we're like, oh, you're right, were you able to sleep? And she was like, yeah, it was fine, I was out like a log. And it just, about 3 of us went,
something's not quite
sounds
right.
alright here. Yeah. And obviously I was out like a log, or I slept like a log.
If you're hungover and you're picking that up, fair play.
Thank you. Sam, what's favourite one of Sam was he said something like, he said, oh, I don't know if the juice is worth the coins. That was one of it. But Solskjaer did it last night. He said, we knew Wolves were going to come out like a house on fire. I just enjoyed it. Yeah, that's my football turn on when people get phrases wrong. What's yours, man?
Mine feels quite
long socks.
Mine feels quite, I don't know, quite not dirty, but just, it shouldn't turn me on.
Oh.
So it's when you're a home fan and the away side score a really big goal, and that section of really tight packed away fans just erupt. And I think there's something really nice.
Like it?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, right. Oh,
I
yeah,
do. So
that's a horrible one, isn't it?
It is a horrible one, but deep down I quite like it because everywhere else looks silent, and you just see these like waves of people and that eruption of noise. So I can find something in that, even when like
maybe you should go in the home end when you play away, and then if you can watch your own fans doing it.
Did it in a pre-season game at Luton, and I really enjoyed it. Yeah. Really enjoyed it.
Last week we spoke about middle class complaints. I just saw this comment and I thought it was good. Lachlan King, most middle class thing I've ever seen was at a festival with my mates. We were all sat down, hungover in our camping chairs, and one of my mates, after cleaning his teeth, brought out a toothbrush drying towel.
What even is that?
I don't know. I've never seen it. That or owning hard to spread butter has to be the most middle class thing you can do. Because I think we've done quite well. Like, obviously, last week we had 3 Surrey lads and a middle class guy from Stoke. This week we've popped him. We've maybe lost one there and lost a Surrey guy. But I think it's safe to say we're pretty middle class. So any other middle class ways, I enjoyed reading that. So
I heard a good one actually in Waitrose earlier. So of course. But I was looking for the yellow sticker.
You only go to Waitrose for your bits.
Yeah, of course.
Don't do big
I heard someone down the kind of the rice and pastry aisle say, "Honey, do we have quinoa in the second house?" And I thought, you know what? That's a lot of time for that.
That is well up there.
Yeah, I loved it.
Is it? I mean,
And she didn't know whether they did or not, so they bought it anyway.
I feel like we're starting something.
Yeah.
Is it possible to embrace middle class ways in the modern game? Maybe. Let's
Possibly.
hope. Right, better or worse than David Beckham's lob against Wimbledon, the new bit in the Great Touch for a Big Lad podcast. Last week I said I didn't really rate it. I didn't really rate that goal. So people said,
Harsh.
I said use the hashtag better than Beckham, and we can talk about things that are they better or worse than the Beckham goal against Wimbledon. Thoughts on the Beckham goal against Wimbledon?
I think I'm rating it higher than you did.
Yeah, I just thought you lumped it.
Everyone who watched it in my office, they came up to me and goes, I really enjoyed the podcast. He goes, your mate though, like, how is he saying it? Is he on a wind up?
I don't think I'd be able to kick the ball that far.
I mean, that's impressive, but goalkeepers hit it that far, don't they?
Yeah.
Goalkeepers hit it past the halfway line.
Could you
Anyway,
score
let's not
it?
get into that. Probably not. That's a good point. Anyway, Jack Gregory says, Alexander Arnold, quick corner versus Barcelona. Is that better or worse than the Beckham goal?
Worse.
Worse.
I thought that was really overhyped.
I mean, the moment that goal went
Fucking
in
hammered for that.
was obviously a very important moment.
Yeah. The
It
genius.
was quick thinking. It was really, really quick thinking.
It's just hit an area though, isn't it? A bit like Beckham.
No, I don't think.
From a much closer
he's,
distance.
I don't think he's hitting area. I think he's picked him out. But no, I think Beckham's is much better.
Okay. Yeah, alright. Yeah, Beckham's is better.
The finish for that goal was nice. The actual
That was
corner-
underrated, wasn't it?
That was underrated.
Yeah.
The corner itself, I'm like,
I thought the finish was like a bit panicky. He goes straight,
Top corner.
poof. Yeah,
Panicky.
yeah, oh, it's great. Yeah. People
Wow.
are mad.
Wow.
Liverpool is so angry. It's just an opinion. Here's
and a
another
wrong
one.
opinion.
Nicholas Pepe, Charlie Adams, 60-yard screamer.
I was there for that game in Chelsea, wasn't it?
That was good. That was further out, so that was better than Beckham's, yeah.
I'd have to watch it back.
Okay.
I'd have to watch it back.
But
Get off the fence, mate.
Yeah. Well, I can't remember it.
that
do you remember
one
goal?
felt slightly more kind of bulleted.
Yeah.
There was a bit more whip about it.
Better goal, wasn't it?
It was a better goal.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
And Adam does stuff. Thierry Henry's volley against United.
That was better.
That's miles
Yeah.
better, isn't it? Miles better. Okay. What was the best out of those three?
Thierry Henry.
It's Thierry, isn't it? Yeah?
Yeah.
So
You're
Charlie Adams better?
thinking-
I quite like Charlie
Yeah.
Adams.
2 against 1. So Thierry Henry's volley is now this week's goal. Can you think of a goal that was better than Thierry Henry's volley? Let's stick with volleys. Let us know in the comments and we'll read them out.
So you're going to get to a point where you found the ultimate
The
goal.
best goal ever.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then maybe we'll get to a point where they go, oh, have you seen this goal from this Icelandic third division? And we're watching it, we're like,
And we go, yes, we
It's
have.
that
And we
that
voted.
is better than Maradona's goal in 98. Right. Quick fire Twitter questions. Here's a quick comment on VAR. Thoughts on this? Fergus O'Connor. Too many pundits are complaining about VAR because it will make them get to work and properly analyse the game instead of just saying what the ref should have done. Do you agree with that or disagree with that?
I don't like VAR because I know that there's going to be a point in this season where I madly celebrate a goal and it gets disallowed, and that feels
That
so
will
hard.
happen.
It
That
feels
will
so
happen.
harsh.
Yeah.
What was the question again?
It wasn't really a question. It was just saying like,
It was a
is
statement.
it true? Do you think it's true that it's like people don't like? That's why people don't like VAR, especially pundits, because they're gonna have to do more work and analyse the game more.
No, I just think it's naff.
I think there'd be a lot to analyse anyway, but yeah, I like the point.
Okay. Jack Redfern, the transition from being a class, so they want us to talk about it, transition from being a class championship striker to playing in the Prem, and some players that have done it successfully and others that have struggled. Pukki and Sharp candidates for this season. You've probably seen that a few times. Who's a player that you saw in the Prem and you thought, oh, certainly he was going to be good enough, and he wasn't?
From the Championship into the Prem,
Yeah.
Gary Hooper.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, makes sense.
Good shout.
Yeah, although that summer, I don't know what diet he was on, but he seriously put some pounds on, which I don't think helped.
Do you know what I thought would do a bit more was Taarabt, but he wasn't really up to. Do you know what I was blown away with who was able to have a Premier League career was Jamie Mackie.
He's a good player.
He's you talk about personality and mentality.
Yeah.
Jamie Mackie. He would do turns in the Premier League that was so slow that the opposition would go, "What is he?" And he's gone. It was like we had a mate called Matt Mullen who used to do the same thing. But he would just do
They
this
just
turn. He'd
do
do it
too.
so slow that like if you did it at normal Premier League speed, they go and stop it. But because he did it so slowly, but he had the audacity to do it, he would then like undo a fullback. I'm trying to think of any other players who thought would do a bit more.
From the same Horsley team.
no, from the Championship. There's the two. There you go. And what else we got?
By the way, I think you'll be the perfect person to know this. Apparently, Teemu Pukki is the most transferred player like into a fantasy team of all time in fantasy football.
Really?
Wow.
670,000 people have put him in.
Owen
their
brought him
team
in
this week.
last week.
Really, that's
Okay.
genius.
Yeah, it's too sickening, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's always at the top.
Yeah, he's always at the top.
Um,
I don't know that, but I do know that a lot of people are bringing him in.
Yeah.
And you've got like Chelsea and Man City in the next 3 game weeks, so maybe a mistake. Just a
All right,
thought.
James.
But the Newcastle game, obviously that was a good shout. And final one, Leroy. Just how much trouble do you think Newcastle will be in this season? And if they go down, can you genuinely see them bouncing straight back up? So many implications. Only 2 games in, but they have been proper rubbish. Jack, you saw him.
Do I think I do think they'll go down. I do. To be fair, I thought they were going to go down last season, and I'm surprised that they didn't. And I think Rafa, did a remarkable job to keep them up. I look at them this season. I think all of the 3 clubs that came up are stronger than them. Yeah, I don't think they've recruited well. It felt very kind of scattergun. Joelinton does not fit into that system at all. Andy Carroll, what's all that about? It's like, that if they had to stay up now, it would be a remarkable turnaround.
I think I always go to sort of more of a psychological for the kind of energy feeling of it all.
Yeah.
And Newcastle just doesn't feel right to me. I think it's going to be a real struggle for them.
Their fans have already turned on Bruce, and we all know that once fans turn on a manager, it's game over.
Yeah.
The manager is not winning them fans back.
And that's unfair. Just to say.
It's unfair on Bruce, yeah.
Although they sometimes can do well despite that, like Sarri.
Managers. So yeah, just about. Yeah, I guess there's just no one else available there at that point.
But then
that might be the case with Ashley at the moment. Give him the time.
Yeah.
And he's coming halfway through pre-season, which is tough for him. But I just think it's going to be very, very
It's not a great squad either.
No, it's not. It's still a championship squad for me.
It's not a great squad.
The bulk of it.
There's a few players in there you like, but you make a good argument. But I think Shelby's obviously a good player.
Yeah.
I'm going to give Joe Linton the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I'm going to wait on Joe Linton.
I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. See what he's like. See what he can do for the Magpies.
We finish off. Let's finish off with some quick fire predictions for the weekend's football. Aston Villa versus Everton. Who's going to win?
Everton.
And that's another great one, isn't it? I think Everton.
I think Everton as well.
They're very even. They're very quick.
Norwich
fire,
Chelsea.
Yeah.
Draw.
That was draw. Okay.
Norwich Everton. Norwich Chelsea. Norwich Chelsea.
Drawn against them
early
twice
games,
last
the early
season.
game.
I'm going to go Chelsea.
Okay, let's get a bit quicker here. I'm going to go draw as well. Brighton, Southampton. I'm going for a Brighton win for the Potter Nation.
Draw.
Southampton away win.
Okay. Man United, Crystal Palace.
United.
Yeah. Sheffield United, Leicester City.
Draw.
Leicester City.
Yeah, Leicester City for me. Watford versus West Ham.
I've seen those. Draw.
Watford. Liverpool versus Arsenal.
Liverpool.
I think they get a draw. I think Arsenal get a draw. I think I'm quite excited about Arsenal now. I'm kind of looking forward to watching them again.
I
think there's something
can
on there.
validate that, but yeah, it's quick fire.
Bournemouth, Man City. Obviously,
Man City.
Bournemouth.
Man City.
Spurs versus Newcastle.
Spurs.
And Spurs. And do I put Kane in my team? Sorry, getting very into FPL these days. And Wolves, Burnley.
Draw.
Wolves win.
Was that Wolves at home?
Mm-hmm.
Wolves.
Okay, there you go. There's the knowledge. We're going to do a tier list video right now, and that will be up on Sunday, all being well. So make sure you go check that out. It'll also be a podcast which is on iTunes, so you go check that out as well. If you enjoyed this video, do 2 things for me. Hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and actually, a third thing, head over to Jack's channel, Talk Norwich City.
Thanks, mate.
Wicked podcast, such a good podcast. Stuart Webber one is amazing. It's actually so insightful. You don't get that kind of coverage on other clubs. And you spoke to him brilliantly, and he was so open, wasn't he? It was amazing.
He was, yeah, and it's just a I think for any fan at the moment, looking at Norwich as a case study is quite. I think there's learnings to take from Norwich.
Yeah. Come on, the Canaries. I kind of want them to do well this time. So yeah, subscribe to all those things and go follow Dom at @1Dom.
Yeah. Well, I won't tweet that much, but yeah.
But the stuff you do tweet is worth.
Yeah, like the historic stuff. Like when I'm
Spicy.
drunk on a Saturday night about Brentford losing or winning.
Yeah.
Check
Yeah.
that out.
More of that. Follow Dom.
And give them a like as well. Yeah.
Yeah, do that as well. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Actually, my followers just go through the roof.
Yeah.
Take over. Like,
I'm going to do that.